Well, it's summertime, folks. Let's head off to Amity Island for some sand, surf, and some terror. Let's get into it. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to talk about the original summer blockbuster. Before we get into it, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I would appreciate that. Yes, we're heading back to 1975 and Amity Island for some Jaws. That's right. This film came out June 20th of 1975. It's rated PG. It's 2 hours and 4 minutes long, had a budget of $7 million. And like I said, this was the original summer blockbuster because that summer it made 260 in America and 471 worldwide. This was a huge hit, and it basically changed the way studios looked at the summertime movie-going season. And that's why we have blockbusters to this day. Now, the man responsible for directing this film is none other than Steven Spielberg. I mean, he did Duel before this, but this is what shot him into the stratosphere. Obviously, he's made many great films over the years: Raiders of the Lost Ark, Saving Private Ryan, Jurassic Park, etc., etc. The man's a legend and one of the best directors of all time. This was based on a novel by Peter Benchley. If you've never read it, it's a great read. There is some definitely different things in the book. I've read it several times than what's in the movie, but I think they did a really nice job adapting this for the big screen. Now, in this film, we're going to concentrate on just 4 actors. I mean, all the actors here are good for what they're given to do, but these are our 4 main people. I mean, really 3 are the ones we concentrate on, but I'll include Murray Hamilton here. Roy Schreider plays Chief Brody. He is only been on the island for about a year, and he took over as Amityville Police Chief. He worked for New York City Police Department, and him and his wife and his family moved to Amity Island to take over that job for the island. And Robert Shaw plays Quint, and he is fantastic here. We'll talk about him as we go through this. Richard Dreyfuss plays Hooper. He is with the Oceanographic Institute, and he is an expert that comes onto the island to help them out with this issue. And Murray Hamilton plays Mayor Vaughn, and I know a lot of people hate him for good reason. And the film, what else can I say about this film? If you're into movies, I'm sure you've seen this movie probably more than once. This is an absolute classic, but we're going to talk about it and do a little bit of a deep dive on it. We have a summer destination island that requires tourists to come on for summer dollars, or their financial stability is going to be very weak going through the wintertime. It's definitely played up in this film. The people are concerned about keeping the beaches open because that's why people come to this destination for their vacations. And at the beginning of the film, we get that great scene with Chrissy that goes into the water at this party with this guy. The guy kind of passes out on the beach. She goes in, she's waiting for him, and she gets attacked. It's a great opening scene and a great way to set the tone. And you don't even see the shark. From her getting thrashed around like crazy in the water and her screaming, it's terrifying. And it's so well done by Spielberg, especially putting the camera right at water level. Throughout the film, they use that a lot, and it's very effective, and it's awesome. It's very awesome here in this film. And then we get introduced to Chief Brody and the town, and kind of like the little bit of a politics when the body's found, and the town elders they convince the medical examiner to say it's a boating accident instead of a shark attack like they originally had told Chief Brody, and he was typing up his report. And he wants to close the beaches. Well, they don't want the beaches closed because the 4th of July is coming. It's their main season to make money. And as we know, if you've seen this film, I mean, the shirt says it all. The Kintner boy gets attacked. They still won't close the beaches. More people get attacked. And then they have to hire Quint to go out in the ocean with Brody and Hooper, find a shark, and kill it. And that is basically Jaws. Now, this film has become iconic. Obviously, there was 3 sequels after this, 2, 3, and 4. 2 is a decent sequel, nowhere near as good as the original. 3, I can have some cheesy, trashy fun with because it's not a great film by any stretch of the imagination. Although I think the 3D holds it back, especially at home viewing. Although I would like to see it in 3D in the theater. And 4 is a complete dumpster fire. Actually, it's one of the worst movies of all time. It's just a complete shit show from start to finish. But this one is the one that started it all. And no shark movie has ever come close to this one. There's other shark movies I like, but none ever came as close as Jaws. This is, to me, what a director who is up and coming, who's hungry for it, with a great cast and a great script. And I know they had a lot of problems filming this, but what came out of that trial and tribulations of trying to film on the water off of Martha's Vineyard up in Massachusetts, and what they got on screen, even though you don't see the shark all that much. The shark, Bruce the shark, you only see that shot of him coming up, which is terrifying, by the way, when that guy's in the rowboat and gets knocked off and he's talking to the Boy Scout or Chief Brody's kid and the other kids. And you see the shark come up underneath him and grab him and pull it up. We don't even see it grab him. You just see it coming up and he disappears under the water. And then you see him when they're on the orca. You see the shark a little bit during that. But you don't really see the shark a whole lot until the end when it jumps out of the water and eats Quint. And Brody kills it. So I mean, we all know the stories. The shark didn't work. And this was in the 70s. And to build a machine like that, it took a lot of work, ingenuity. Nothing like that had ever been really pulled off on that scale, what they were trying to do. And actually, the shark was supposed to be more in the film. It worked better for the film that it's not in the film that much. You see it very little. And yet Spielberg manages to milk it for every ounce of suspense he can, even when you can't see the shark. You know it's always there. Like the shots of people swimming in the camera underwater, it's very suspenseful. When Hooper goes in the water just to look at the boat that they find, and he finds the body, but that's a suspenseful scene, and the shark that doesn't even show up. But overall, I mean, what else can I say about Jaws? This is a movie I grew up with. My mom and dad used to rent this every summer on the 4th of July. We'd sit down as a family, my sister and I and my mom and dad, and we'd watch this film. It's a film I've grown up on. I've owned it on VHS. I've owned it on DVD. I've owned it on Blu-ray. I have the 4K right there. And at transfer, if you don't have it on 4K and you're a physical media, addict like I am, the transfer is amazing on that. It looks spectacular. And they just announced they're going to re-release it in IMAX in real 3D in the fall. They just said that the other day. They released that, and that's a pretty cool thing. I'd like to see it in the theaters. I don't need it in 3D though. I just want to see it in the big screen. I've never seen it on the big screen. That's the one thing I would like to do. But Jaws is an absolute classic. From Quint's USS Indianapolis speech, which just for that alone, Robert Shaw should have got nominated for an Oscar. He gives a great performance. I know it's famous that he was drunk a lot of the times, but he still gives a great performance as this rough, grizzled fisherman who does things his way, doesn't want to really cooperate with Hooper or Brody all that much. But you see them come together on the boat. And that last act is like an adventure film. The music by John Williams, which is brilliant throughout the whole film, turns very optimistic when they first go out into the water. And obviously things go from bad to worse for the Orca and its crew. But they do find a way. I mean, Quint is so standoffish with Hooper, and even a little bit with Brody, but I think he respects Brody. But even him and Hooper, that scene when they're sitting around the table trading stories, and he gives that speech about the USS Indianapolis, just brilliant acting. And the way Robert Shaw delivers that, he should have got at least nominated for an Oscar for that. Just for that scene alone, he's fucking awesome. Everybody's awesome here. Roy Schreider as Chief Brody is fantastic. Obviously, he came back for the sequel. Richard Dreyfuss did not. And I know famously Roy Schreider never came back for the other sequels because I know he had problems on that one with the director, but Jaws is spectacular. I can't praise this film enough. This is one of my unicorn movies. There's only a handful of movies I consider perfect. This is one of them. But let's get into just a little bit of trivia before we wrap this up. When they find Chrissy's body part or remains on the beach after Brody gets the phone call and he's walking down the beach with that guy and his deputy finds the remains, Spielberg has said that the fake prop arm looks so fake that they actually end up burying a female crew member in the sand with her arm sticking out, just because he was disappointed with the way the prop turned out. I thought it was pretty cool. And the line, "You're going to need a bigger boat," was actually ad-libbed by Roy Schreider. He actually came up with that on the scene, on the set that day. It wasn't in the script originally. And when this was released in 1975, just to show you the power of this film, 67 million people went to see this film in the summer of 1975. Now, it made $260 million, but back then, going to see a movie was pretty well, considering today. At the time it wasn't considered cheap, but considering today, it was really cheap to go to the film. So this played for months and months and months back in 75. That's how it made this much money. And again, like I said in the beginning of this review, this started the summer blockbuster. This is the movie that started it all. This is the granddaddy of them all, and it's awesome. This is a 10 out of 10 movie. This is one of my unicorn movies along with Back to the Future. That's a unicorn movie for me, and several others. Zodiac, which I did a few weeks ago, is a unicorn movie for me. But this one is a perfect film. I love it. And yes, 10 out of 10 for Jaws. I know you've probably seen this one, but what are your thoughts on this classic? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I would appreciate that. I'll be back soon with some more Summer of Swayze film reviews. But until then, bye.